Eugene, not only have you appeared in the original trilogy, you also appeared in 4 spin-offs of the American Pie franchise. You are American Pie. Could you have done this movie without you? And did you hold out, or did you say yes straight away? Was it just too exciting not to return to?
Well, the other, the other 4 movies, the straight to DVD movies are kind of a separate. That's a separate tribe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those were kind of done after what we thought was going to be the last theatrical movie. There wasn't supposed to be another theatrical movie, and
Right.
when we found out there was going to be another theatrical, I was a little shocked.
Yeah. They couldn't have done this movie without you, though, no?
Well, they, I don't know. I guess they, they might have. I'm kidding. They couldn't. But I really wanted to hear it was important to find out what they wanted to do with the movie and what the story was going to be, and once I heard that, I got very, very excited. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jennifer, your character is quite iconic. She's the original MILF in the American Pie franchise. Did either of you feel the need to go back to the original trilogy before starting to shoot on the American reunion to see what made these 2 characters so iconic and what made people fall in love with them in the first place?
Gosh, you know what? I never watch myself on screen ever, and if I'm at a premiere, I go to the bathroom and my scenes come on. I just don't. No, because the other thing that happens too is something happens. Not only do I not want to know what I look like sometimes because you have in your head like what you look like, and then you watch yourself on film, you're like, oh, why did I go on that eating binge for 3 weeks before the movie started, or whatever? But I don't like to watch myself because then you kind of, then you have sort of a take on yourself, and then I don't know, there's something, I don't know, I for some reason, I don't believe you should, I guess some people do watch themselves. I just can't do it, and because I find it makes you incredibly very self-conscious.
I went back to watch the first film. I watched it 3.16 times just to get a handle on what I was doing in that first American Pie movie. And because things kind of lapse, they change over we did 3 theatricals, and, your character does kind of morph, you know? So you wanted to make sure, because this movie was supposed to be have the same kind of personality as the very first one. I wanted to make sure that I was as close to the first one as I could be.
Yeah. And so speaking of change, the directors of the movie, John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg, said that one of the first things they did when they approached this film was making your character a widower, which doesn't sound like your typical move for a comedy franchise. Were you surprised when you read that about your character, and did you feel it gave him somewhere else to go in the film?
Well, again, when the storyline, I had a lunch with with John and Hayden before they wrote the script, and they laid out what they were planning to do, and that's when I heard that you're now a widower, and I thought, where's this going? And I quickly found out it's a brilliant idea. I felt bad for my wife.
Sure.
Of course, and her agent. But but the idea is to make Jim's dad single opens up a lot of comedic possibilities.
Yeah.
And of course.
Yeah, my agent was thrilled that her agent was losing out.
Well, that's I got to meet Stiffler's mom, and
sure.
That would never have happened had I still been married.
Well, I suppose without giving anything away, you guys do get to do a lot of wild partying scenes in the film, more so than before, and you both have the last word over the end credits. Is there a sense of closure now with the 2 characters, or do you feel it's just opening a new chapter with the 2 of them, and perhaps it can go somewhere else if there's more American Pie movies?
I think it was, I would call it a hell of a first date.
Yeah, that's true. Who knows where it could go? But although we didn't make out like 3.16 times, we got to do some other stuff that was almost as good.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think we could end up. If we did another one, maybe we could be sort of a Bonnie and Clyde type. I could corrupt him into joining some dark, seedy bank robbing life. Who knows?
There could be a future here.
I mean, there is a hunger for it. The first 3 movies made over 200 million each at the global box office, and the current one is it's still being released worldwide. What is it, do you think, that is the success behind the American Pie franchise that makes people want to see more of it?
Well, I think, frankly, it's the characters in the movie. You know, I think the audience really has a great deal of affection for these characters. Certainly for the group of friends, you know, that kind of work their way, you know, through life. Finch and Oz and Jim and Stiffler, you know, Kevin. I think the audience really cares about these characters. It's not just the sex and how racy the film can be. I mean, that's something. That gives the film its personality, but the reason we're here doing, you know, American Pie Reunion, the 4th one, is that I think the audience loves watching these characters.
And just giving the wrap up really quickly, guys, I just want to ask about Christopher Guest's movies, which you both have appeared in, Best in Show, which I believe you may have had a hand in co-writing, Mighty Wind. They offer a chance for you to improv and so forth with the movie. Do you get opportunities like that with films like American Pie, where you can help structure your character or maybe add a line in along the way?
Well, yeah, and it was encouraged, improvising.
Yeah.
I mean, they did. John and Hayden really, you know, they wanted you to go off book, and if you wanted to add something, you know, just to add it.
Yeah, and there was some really fun stuff we got to add, and actually I saw some of it in the movie. But you have to just remember too, like sometimes when you're on a movie and people know that you improvise, you know, I'm such a huge fan of John and Hayden, and they have great taste, and so does Christopher Guest. But I've improvised on movies where sometimes they don't pick your best stuff, and it really is like it is risky sometimes.
Yeah, that is the thing about freewheeling improvisation. You know, you're not necessarily the ones that decide
what gets in. Yeah.
portion of that improv you want to put in.
Great stuff. Guys, I'm Michel Ledore.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Sorry for the
Thank
drilling.
you very much.